Yeah, but I'm now delighted to say that we've got Nigel Farage with us, leader of Reform UK. Nigel, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to see you, Nigel. You sat here not long ago when you weren't leader of Reform. You now are. You said then there's only one winner here today. Do you think you've got a different view now?
No, what I said was right. Labour were always going to win. The Tories were sunk. And, you know, even if I hadn't entered this election race, the Tories were going to lose anyway. And the point is, who is going to be the voice of opposition to Starmer? Is it going to be Rishi Sunak? No, he'll be in California. I mean, is it going to be a divided Conservative party? Or can I, with a group of Reform MPs, not just in Westminster, but around the country, actually stand up and fight? You know, we're not going to stop the boats. We're not going to end mass migration into Britain unless someone stands up and challenges Starmer very seriously.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because an awful lot of people have been looking at polling over the past 2 weeks. Much of the polling was done maybe a week or two before that, when you were showing up to maybe get 3 seats. First they said you wouldn't get any, then you would get 1, then you might get 3, then you might get 7. I mean, Dan Hodges just told me from the Mail on Sunday, he thinks that the polls are not picking up what Reform is actually doing out there and not picking up how popular you're going to be.
What the polls are not picking up is the youth vote. The 18 to 24-year-olds. That is where Reform is booming. And that is why we've had literally billions of views on social media without having to spend any money on it. Because there's a young Gen Z out there that believe in their country, can see their prospects of ever buying a house or having a decent life are being diminished by the population explosion. They're coming to us in real numbers, and there's no way a traditional pollsters panel can pick that up.
I just saw a TikTok poll, actually, which has you running at something like 57, 60%, which is a bit alarming if you're a Tory.
Well, so, don't ask me how, but I'm cool. I'm like the sort of trendy uncle to all these young people. I mean, honestly, the reaction I get in the streets is incredible. Unlike, you know, the sort of millennials who, you know, believe in work-life balance and all this sort of thing. I just meet loads of young people who want to work hard, get on, do well, they're ambitious, they're well turned out, they're patriotic, and I got to tell you, they give me great hope for the future.
Yeah,
really
well,
do.
it looks, I was reading Alison Pearson's piece in the Telegraph today, where she accompanied you down in Clacton. It seems as though you've got quite an appeal to women of a certain age as well.
Yes, I'm afraid they're always in that age bracket, but hey, you know.
So, I mean, so what are we looking at, do you think? I mean, it's been quite a campaign. I mean, everyone, I think, has said without fear or favour that it would have been pretty boring if you hadn't decided to run. But having decided to run, you've had a few slings and arrows fired at you. You've had milkshakes thrown over you. You've had, you know, posters coming out of the ceilings of event places where you've been. You've had Reform candidates defecting to the other side. You've had accusations of dirty tricks. I mean, you sort of had it all, really, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot's gone on. Some of it, you know, it's politics, all fair in love and war. Some of it is offensive and gross. The stitch up by Channel 4 of a supposed Reform activist saying things about Rishi Sunak, that was pretty appalling. But look, I think what I've managed to do is to inject some proper debate into this election conversation. And look, the Tories say, vote for us, the other lot are ghastly. Labour say, vote for us, vote for change, without telling us what the change would be. And what I'm saying is, get a grip, get the low paid out of tax, start controlling our borders, stop poisoning our kids in British schools, and we can become a great country again. And I do think my message is a lot more positive than any of the others.
And what did you make of Boris Johnson's return last night? He couldn't quite bring himself to stand on stage with Rishi Sunak, but it seemed to me a bit of a throwback to a bygone era.
Yeah, very much so. He's the man with the big majority. He's the man that opened the door to mass migration. He's the guy that brought in loopy net zero policies. He's the man that couldn't tell the truth to the House of Commons. He won't have done them any good at all.
And in terms of the big day tomorrow and the counts and everything like that, I mean, what are you going to do when the BBC come up to you and ask you if you can go on with them?
I shall tell them to... Oh, no, sorry.
So your boycott continues?
I don't want to speak to them. There's no point. There's no point.
And
It's a waste of space.
And if you are successfully elected tomorrow in Clacton, what would be your first move as an MP?
To stand up and call for an ending of the BBC licence fee. How about that?
Yeah, well, that's not a bad start. Well, listen, Nigel, thank you very much indeed. I'm not going to wish you luck because I'm not allowed to. We can't do that. But here's the candidates list for Clacton on Sea. Nigel Farage, Reform UK. Craig Jameson, Climate Party. Tony Mack, Independent. Natasha Osborne, Green Party. Jovan Owusu, Nepal, Labour Party. Tassos Papanastasiou from the Heritage Party. Andrew Pemberton, UK Independence Party. And Giles Watling, Conservative and Unionist Party. Just to confirm to you, Channel 4 deny that they paid the actor in investigation into that Reform UK canvassing agent. And of course, they continue to say that it was not a stitch-up.